Okay, here we are on end of July 2022, and here is the purple leaf plum. You can see it has leafed out for the summer, and in particular, take a look at all the new growth here. Notice how it's right on top, and it starts where the previous trims were and grows straight up. These are called water sprouts, suckers, a couple other terms for them, but in general, this is kind of undoing all the work that somebody did, where they did a lot of heading cuts. This is typically what we see when you do topping of a tree. So first of all, the reason for pruning was to presumably cut back some plant material. It's right back where it was, if not further up than before. Secondly, the growth that we do have is weak. So we have narrow branch angles that are going to be susceptible to breaking in the future. So it's difficult to fix a tree, remedy a tree once it has been pruned in this way. The tendency will be to come back next year, do the same thing. Just keep on doing that year after year, and you're going to be fighting the nature of the tree. What should be done now is find one of these that is a decent. What should be done now is to remove the height next time, but do so by cutting back to a branch. They call it the drop crotch technique. You want to cut back to a previous crotch or branch coming off of a stem. And if you do that, you can reduce the height and prevent the tree from responding in such a drastic way. Here's an update on the purple leaf plum, and we have a very interesting opportunity to see how it has responded to the previous pruning topping of the tree. If you recall, it was chopped down to about there, and here we are in autumn. This is September of the same year that it was pruned, so about 6 months later, and we can see all of the water sprouts, the growth going straight up, and we can just see all of the regrowth starting from the previous point of pruning and going straight up, very tall. In addition to just being extra vigorous and kind of negating the point of the pruning, we also can expect these to be weak branches that will break easily. So that's why we don't top the trees, and here we get a good lesson of why that's not a good idea.
We have glasses.
Do you have glasses?
That's what a lot of the buffalo sauce is.
Don't put the second together a little branch.
I started having an apple cider vinegar.
Yeah.
Trying to make it a little healthier.
Got it.
Didn't go all the way through.
I feel like I'm not getting anywhere with this.
Let me go. Here, I'll try it again. Try it again. You want to switch?
Yeah, we don't have a pliers.
Anything else?
Yeah, that's you're only gonna make a third way through. Pull it out now.
Timber!
Watch out when you almost through. Almost through.
Here's an update on the purple leaf plum. This is after it has been pruned by some students. So we can see the canopy of the old topping, the old pruning job, as well as some water sprouts. And this is a, believe it or not, a significant reduction in water sprouts. And if we take a look on the inside of the tree, we can see some significant branches were pruned out. And this is the proper type of thinning cuts that we need to see for the health of the tree. All in all, the goal is to end every branch with something that's been unpruned. And in 1 year, you may not be able to get 100% there, because we don't want to repeat the pruning practice of topping the tree. But if we can remove the most vigorous water sprouts, leave behind ones that are going to be less problematic, and we still address the concerns about growth into the walkways, here's 1 year's worth of corrective pruning on this tree. And with 1 or 2 more seasons, this will be hopefully back into more of a natural canopy that will require less maintenance and result in a healthier tree over time. And so thank you to the students in the fruit tree pruning class. Here we are in April 2023, taking a look at our beloved purple leaf plum. And this is after students in the pruning class have done some corrective pruning on this tree. Now, 100% of the effort couldn't be done in a single year. We ran out of time, but also we're trying to reduce the overall number of cuts to this tree. You can see it is once again leafing out, and interestingly, the water sprouts that were left behind are slow to leaf out, and down below in the kind of lower canopy, those leaves have been coming forward in much more vigor. If we come closer and take a look, you can see that this lower canopy consists of no heading cuts. No topping was done. In fact, using natural target pruning, all cuts were made at previous branching areas, or dropping down to the next highest crotch, so that everything that's left behind is a natural tip. The terminal ends of the branches are all natural. And when you prune this way, it allows the growth hormone that permeates through the tree to be regulated properly, and you have a more natural form. That's a correction that was done on the previous prune a few years back, where the entire tree was topped, and you can see the response that the tree gives in that case. Now let's come in closer and take a look, and we can see quite healthy vigor in all of these branches. In fact, the tree could still, now looking at it leafing out, could certainly use more and more pruning, but quite a beautiful, healthy looking tree at the moment, living up to its namesake of the purple leaf plum. And one of the key things that was a primary effort was trying to not thin too many branches down below. It can be kind of tempting to just remove all the leaves, and then you're stuck with all the leaves up top. But following a natural growth pattern, trying to make sure there's some branches and leaves kind of throughout the canopy, but overall cleaning it up and making sure that all the branches go up and out. Always focusing on the central leader of the tree, recognizing that the tallest part of the tree should be coming up relatively even with the trunk, and some major crossing branches were removed to help solve this problem. So some major branching that was crossing, rubbing branches, other things were removed. So in light of all of that, this is one season's worth of pruning. I wanted to make sure to document the corrective pruning being done. And also, I find this to be quite interesting. I need to do a little more research. I don't have enough experience with this type of corrective pruning to know if this is a natural response, what we could expect to happen, or if this is something kind of unique. It'll be fun to watch and see what happens throughout the season. Here's an update on the purple leaf plum that's been pruned for correction halfway. This is June 30th, 2023. You can see the overall canopy shape is quite balanced. Maybe a little bit of excessive growth on the ends here could handle a summer prune to reduce the growth. But also you look and you see that the leaves are nice and spaced all throughout. Young branches all leafing out. Quite a dense canopy, not 100%, but pretty good, maybe 90%, 95%. But of more interest is actually all of this growth down here. So these are suckers. They're coming up from the roots, and not something that I'm used to seeing in previous years. So my guess is that because so much was removed up top, significant sections of the roots decided the way a plant decides, they were encouraged to send up these suckers. And of most interest, obviously, it's not purple in leaf. So this is Prunus ceracifera, but it's not the purple leaf cultivated variety. Quite interesting. It's not a problem. It does mean we need to get in here and remove these. You could replant them because they're already rooted. But all in all, what we see down here is a reflection of what was done up here. Now, the original canopy, the goal is to kind of get it back to about half of what it is. Where it's more dense, that's ideal. And where it's grown tall, those are water sprouts from a previous topping. So students removed at about 50% of what was up here, as well as some significant branches down below. And now, next year, hopefully, we can get in and do the rest. But you can't do it all at once, and the shock to the system is proven right here with these suckers. But quite a beautiful plant. Just taking some other observations, I do see that's bird droppings, kind of looking for pests, diseases. Ultimately, it looks fairly healthy. A few days ago, I did actually see a cherry fruit. And if I see that today, I'll point it out. It may have fallen, it may have been eaten, but it was a nice sized cherry. These don't usually, or a plum, they don't normally produce fruits, but I think that's not because of the pruning. I think it's more because of the cold temperatures we've had this year, which enabled the flowers to set. We had a handful of fruits, plums or cherries or some kind of little prunus fruit. So the last thing we can do is get in here and look at some of these major cuts that were done. We have in here, this is a spreading twig that some interested students wanted to help space this branch away from this branch. We'll see if that holds and how long it holds for. Also, we had a significant cut here. We see replacement growth, so if we want, we have a nice low branch. In and around here, significant cut, replacement. And down here, significant cut and replacement. So interesting to see the rebound from that pruning. And my guess is that some of these, especially internal, you'd want to keep them gone. So all in all, checking on progress. We're about halfway there, it seems, to getting it back to a natural, healthy shape.